is heaviest, it can even kill those who have not taken proper shelter.
Broadcasting deep underground in a questionably constructed survivalist bunker is Dave Chafins and Kenneth Vigue, and your host, as always, Mr. Robots. This episode of the Fallout Hub is brought to you by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Open enrollment for advanced robotics courses starts now. Totally nothing sketchy going on. Nope, not at all.
We're live.
Hello and welcome to the Fallout Hub. This is the internet's Dave Chafins welcoming all of the ghouls and robots, also known as ghouls and robots, to our wonderful and lovely show. Today I have with me two very special people. First off, we've got the wonderful, the always vigilant and just shining Kenneth Vigue. How are you, sir?
You know, Dave, I'm warm. It's pretty.
You're warm?
Pretty goddamn.
I'm warm too.
Pretty goddamn warm.
See, it's a good thing to do when you start any podcast is to immediately talk about the weather. People love that content. People absolutely love that content.
Yep. They do.
Joining us today, a very special guest. We've got Kieran, also known as Bundicot or Bundicoot. Or
Bundicot.
Just a real Bundy cutie. How you doing, man?
Hello, Dave. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Oh yeah, it's great to be here. I have an important announcement. I've broken myself. I've decided that it came a time where I was looking into upgrading some setups, upgrading some different stuff. And I was trying to price between buying an external GPU to put into my MacBook, which I then run a Windows 10 boot camp on a separate external USB drive. And I priced that out. And that upgrade was going to cost me $300 in order to do some light PC gaming. So instead, I just decided to buy an Xbox, just on a whim, because that was $300. And I was like, well, okay, I'm just gonna buy this now. So now I have all the consoles, and what you don't know is once you have all the consoles, they give you a special certificate that says that you're a real nerd now. So I am truly. You're a real nerd at this
You're a real pro gamer.
I'm a real pro gamer. Here's the thing. Here's the point I want to bring up. I'm not just like trying to show off to these people. So I've been playing Fallout 76 on the Xbox Series S. I didn't shoot for the refrigerator. I decided for the smaller version. I like that it's like no bigger than a Wii.
Disappointing.
It has that. Well, that's fine. You can be disappointed in me. I'm still I'm doing my budget gaming situation. It's perfectly fine. So it still has the frame rate boost on there, which I didn't realize. So I'm playing Fallout 76. I'm like, when did they? This looks great. This is playing great. Is this how it is? Is this what 60 FPS looks like? I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, they did the boost thing. So I'm like, I don't know if I can go back and play Fallout on the PlayStation now. I think it's just like slightly ruined for me, which is kind of sad because there's a whole like year and a half of Fallout First on that account, which means a bunch of Atom Shop items on that account. And the characters that I've invested 2.5 to 3 years on are on that account. So I'm in a real pickle. I'm in a real pickle right now.
Go with the frame rate, man. You can sacrifice all that other stuff. It's fine.
That's true.
It's fine.
I'm seriously, now it's like I'm converting myself, Bethesda has jumped onto the Microsoft ship, and I'm like, been kind of waiting, been kind of seeing, got to watch the C3, which we're going to talk about. I thought, maybe it's time to jump the ship, because originally, the last Xbox I had was in 2010, had an Xbox, and at the time, the PlayStation 3, in order to play online, you didn't need to pay anything. And back in the day, you had to pay something to play online with the 360. So I was like, you know what? That's a cheaper move. I really want to play. What was I playing? Probably like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, the online version of that.
Oh,
or Battlefield Bad Company 2. I was like, I'm gonna jump the ship. So now I've jumped the ship again, and now I am driving all 3 ships. I am driving the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, all 3 at once. That's just my personal announcement. We have a lot of interesting things to cover today.
Oh boy, howdy do we?
We haven't had a show in a while, so it's gonna be a real burner here. Let's get the big. There's some big ticket items. I want to talk to you about Steel Rain. I want to talk to you about the update that's coming out, I think, next week. I think that's when it's coming out. It's pretty soon. It's next week. But I really wanted to, oftentimes there's like a build up. In this one, I recently saw Fast and Furious 9, and so that just starts with like craziness, and so I want to channel that energy. Let's talk about the trailer for Fallout Expeditions: The Pit. What was your all's reaction to that?
The Pit. Insanely hyped.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's ironic.
So what do you think the scale of that's going to be?
See, obviously you want it to be like a mini open world, Far Harbor sized, but like, oh man, I don't know if they're just gonna go, when they say expedition, for me it just seems like they're wanting to do like a quest based thing. So it's like you go there, you have like a certain linear path to go through. I hope it's not that. I hope it's a genuine big open world, not massive, but big enough, explore the pit.
Yeah, I think originally they said that expeditions were just going to be like a daily ops kind of thing. But I think they got the drift that we were thirsty for some new space to play around in. And even the way that the trailer is, it almost leads you to believe like this Brotherhood expedition crash lands, maybe sends out a distress call, and this Brotherhood sends us out there on a rescue mission, maybe. But it's interesting because we were just talking to Nate Perkypile last month about the pit, and it's kind of wild that we're headed back to one of his worlds.
I think he tweeted that he had the handwriting was still on the sign. They just like reused the same just updated the asset that they had, and it's like actually his like the pit, like how it's written on the Pittsburgh sign is the same, which is kind of funny.
Nice.
Yeah, his signature is a font. Just be called Perky.
The thing that I have always said. The thing that I've always said about this, and I'm not gonna take a massive amount of credit, but I will take most of the credit for predicting this because this has been probably like 2 years in the making of where are they gonna. When people are like, oh, where are they gonna expand the map to? I'm always like, they're gonna expand it to Pittsburgh, because my theory is that they are testing. I think in Bethesda, I think you see a lot of things that are horizontal, right? There's a lot of horizontal. Fallout 3, a lot of that's horizontal, right? And so when you get into 76 and even some of like downtown Boston and 4, there's like these vertical elements. So like there's the mountains and different stuff. And so I think one of the reasons for them doing the pit is they're like, okay, that was kind of like, even though it was sectioned off, there was a vertical element to that DLC. And it would be interesting to revisit that and try that out from like a different level of the story. Like having that dense city, there's really none of that in 76. And so adding that, or at least a portion of that, or whatever the scope is, I think is a great thing for them to do.
Yeah, like the traditional kind of downtown Boston, downtown Washington, D.C., condensed, terrifying, you don't know what's coming around the next corner kind of thing. Maybe even some subway action. That would be kind of cool.
That would be really good.
Actually, does Philadelphia even have a subway? I imagine it must.
It's not. Philadelphia is not the pit.
Pittsburgh. I mean, yeah. I'm about to get skewered. I meant it's a P, all right?
Pittsburgh doesn't have. So I go to I get my tattoos in Pittsburgh. You know, it's like that song. I get my Floridas down in Georgia, or my oranges down in Georgia. You know, like the pop song that's on the radio, getting the top 100 hits, getting that good song. So I get my tattoos in Pittsburgh. So I go there about maybe once a year. I'm going to a concert there in August. I'm going to go see Green Day. Pretty excited about that. What else is on my schedule? Well, next week I've got a barbershop appointment. Anyways, got
that bar mitzvah.
There's no subway, but it's right. There's no subway, but it's crazy because like how I get to Pittsburgh is you go through this tunnel, much like is exactly how the pit opens. Like you go through a tunnel and it looks like there's nothing around you, and you come out the other end of the tunnel and it is just like city. It's like city, like wedged in between like some mountains. And the crazy thing about it is it still has that like old feel to it, even though a lot of the stuff, like a lot of like ironworks and stuff are changed over different. There's a lot of technology stuff there in modern Pittsburgh, but it is like so dense and everything is on top of each other. Like the closest, like I can't think of another city that's like that still has that mountain aspect. Like there's like mountains there, and they have built these like neighborhoods up a mountain to the point where it's a one-way street trying to come down a mountain, and I'm like, I just need to put on the emergency brake as I go down. Like it is very dense, but there is no subway.
Yeah, it's really I've only been there once, and I was struck by how unusual a city it is, the way in which it was built up, and going downhill there is a wild.
It's crazy stuff. So what do you hope to see? I know that there's some lore stuff with I think the lore from 3, which, you know, is not exactly the most important thing in the whole wide world, but some people on Reddit will definitely tell me that it is.
Oh, yeah.
I know that there was like a kind of like a Warhammer 40K situation where they brought a bunch of Brotherhood people there to like clear out a zombie infestation, or like whatever those like little ghouls that were like, it was like fighting a bunch of like golems, you know, like from Lord of the Rings in the Pit DLC. So I imagine we're gonna see some of those because we see that in the trailer.
Yep, the
Trogs. That's it. What do you all hope to see?
Curious what the massive monster is that grabs that one Brotherhood guy and just like drags him across the building. I'm hoping that isn't just like a big super mutant behemoth, but actually like a massive monster, kind of like a Trog behemoth. That'd be funny.
Oh, that would be terrifying.
Yeah, that would be very terrifying.
Maybe a Trogdor.
Trogdor.
A troglodyte?
That's a deep cut. Troglodyte. What about you, Ken?
I would just like it to be large enough that it feels satisfying. As opposed to, particularly because it's been so long since we've had a Wastelanders sized update where the world was completely changed. And I think we're hungry for something new. So yeah, if it's a nice, fun world space to explore, like on the size of an ESO size edition, which would be just amazing. I think that would be really, really great. I would just like it to not be like an hour's worth of content in the back to Appalachia.
Right. The thing the thing that I see is like there's 6 regions right now within 76. And I would like it to be not necessarily like, like because things are spread out. There's forests, there's mountains, but like the size of one of those, like the amount of content that's in one of those. I'd really like that to be like, if we can get that, and let's say they're gonna call it expeditions and they start with a pit. I mean, imagine like later on they're saying, okay, our next expedition, we're gonna go to New Vegas, like, and getting like that size piece where it's like it is New Vegas, but it's not the full desert. It's like this like
Like
particular
yeah.
it's not this gigantic huge new map. It's something like sizable but not too big. But I've never heard anybody complain about it being too big, so that's what she said. Moving on, and we're
kind of dancing
I
around
assume we're gonna
this.
take some
Anyway.
college
Large
right,
enough,
Ken,
but
at
it
some point.
satisfies.
We're gonna take some callers today, right, Ken?
We are.
Okay. I'm just double checking to make sure.
If we're
planning the show mid podcast. This is like behind the scenes. Yeah, if people want to. Let's see. Let's move on into the thing that's coming more recently, I believe, on July 7th, which is the Steel Reign update. So we're going to get the conclusion to the Brotherhood of Steel storyline that started with Steel Dawn. And it's going to bring in, let's see, legendary crafting, legendary power armor crafting as well. And Ken, I think you said 5 new camp slots, right?
Nope, we're getting a total of 5. So we're getting 3 new ones that we'll be dropping with this next patch. Jeff Gardner revealed that. He wasn't sure if he wasn't supposed to or just didn't care. But I think out of all of this, I'm more excited by that than maybe something like legendary crafting. Partly because I really love building. Yes, I'm excited about the new camp slots. That's going to be awesome.
Right now it's only 2, and that feels like that maybe you have like a showpiece and then you're like what I would call your main camp. And I've always liked like, having these builds where it's like, okay, it functions as like your main camp where you have all of your workbenches, all the different stuff you need, but also is kind of a showpiece. And so it'll be nice, I think, to have 5. And if you look at, just how the game is, you can put them in like 5, if you were like being real statistical about them, you could put them in all the 5 different regions. And then that's like fast traveling. You're like getting that free fast travel like that.
That's not a bad idea.
I'm coming up with great,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
just call me a professor of statistics.
It's Dave's new title. Yeah, it's like I've been using them. I do exactly that. So I have one camp that's kind of my main camp, and then the second camp has become an event camp. Like on one character, I've got the concert grounds that we use for Fallapalooza, that Kieran saw, and
I actually got a few cinematic shots of that if you're ever needing it. When you were doing that, I was then just recording a bunch of stuff. People dancing around.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It's the constant jumping. And yeah, having these other camps would be great because I can build event specific camps like mazes, or we've been doing more QuakeCon community stuff. So some of the Hoarders Hustle or the Nuka Shine runs, I could just build those camps and then only load them in when we're doing events. So having those extra slots would be super helpful.
I like that. I'm curious. So from what I can garner, from what I can Jeff Garner here, I think that the legendary crafting is much like the current, like when you get how you roll new items within the game. Like if you get a plan for like a Gauss shotgun and you've got the legendary modules and you build it and then it rolls based on the star amounts. That's how it's working right now, at least in the PTS, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I feel like that there should be some way to like designate like the like the lotto machine or like the different things like I guess what do you call them, like the RNG, that's what people call them. Some of that I think in the game is good, but I think people are really looking forward to like, oh, if I could just have, I like this gun and I like this legendary that I have, but if I could just tweak one thing, or if I could like have this be a different like I have this thing. I like all the things, but I don't like Nocturnal, and I want to change that. So I'm a little bit disappointed that you can't particularly do that, but I am looking forward in being able to roll those for a specific item, because I know like handmaids, handmade rifles, that kind of stuff is a big ticket item, like miniguns, and there's some weapons that are favored over others. So like people don't necessarily need guitar sword legendaries, other than the fact of that being pretty cool. But that's not the high ticket item. So I'm of course they do. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. What about you all? Is that something that you're interested in?
I'm interested in trying out some of the new build possibilities. Like, there's an aristocrats build you can do, or essentially the more caps you have, and there's like some other ones where essentially a food build can become viable. Which is just, I think, hilarious. It's interesting, some of the new variations that'll be rolling out.
I should really give my character a build. I don't really have one. I have stuck with the same perk cards since like the start of the game, and they've all been very random.
He's a man about town.
A madman. I just have a big gun and I shoot things. That's all I do. I could do more damage, but I just don't.
An idiot savant.
I have the idiot build. That's what I have. I should really look into more of this.
It's funny to go back and play this past week and to roll a new character, and I haven't done that in in years. I can say that it's been years since
It's
I've
been
done
84 years.
but to go back and roll that again, to go back and do that again, and to kind of start fresh, like where it's like, okay, I have like these 4 weapons and 4 different ammo types, and I'm gonna run out of 3 of these by the time I get there, and eventually I'm gonna switch over to the melee weapon just so that I can get through this particular area. And oh no, I've like stopped paying attention to my health, and I need to heal. Like the management of that early game, I think, is probably one of the best. So I do agree there needs to be like an idiot savant build, where it's like, if you were just like entirely chaotic in how you play, you do more damage. Like if you're like constantly, it's like high damage for like a few bullets on like the first gun that you have, and if you switch to another one, you're gonna get more. And it's kind of like, I'm just like pitching stuff, but I do agree that there needs to be an idiot savant build, because that would be hella fun.
Yeah, if you accidentally take rat away instead of a stim pack, you get a buff. The kind of stupid things. Like if you
instantly healed from this rat away, fantastic.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
So we've got
we also have our first caller.
Oh damn!
Let's bring him in.
Hello.
What's up?
What's up?
What's
going
up?
on, y'all?
I thought you were gonna do your voice, Ken.
Caller, welcome to the Fire Hub, the #1 radio station in Appalachia. I shouldn't be making Brian laugh right now.
Yeah.
It's all good. I've actually crazy cool news. I've been off oxygen since about 9:30 last night, and my stats are sitting at like 97% blood oxygen. So I'm doing good.
That's awesome. Yeah, just for anybody who doesn't know, Brian from the Omega broadcast has been dealing with double lung COVID pneumonia. So it's been quite serious. He's been kind of dealing with that last week after getting it from a funeral. Oh, God.
Yeah. But I'm good. I'm getting there, guys. I'm getting there.
Yeah. That's good.
That's good.
Great to hear, man.
That stuff is. I had a friend that got COVID from a funeral, and this like that double punch is kind of.
It's one of those things you don't think
Oh.
about because you're shaking hands, you're hugging, and you're trying to console people, but at the same time you're like, oh wait, I'm just contracting everything. So
Yes. What what are you most excited about with some of the patch news that's been coming out?
yeah, so I am like, so you guys talked about the expeditions and stuff. I'm stoked about those just to see what happens there. But I'm stoked for pets in the winter. That's like my biggest
Oh, yes,
excitement.
that's right.
I forgot it was even a thing.
Yeah, I can't
Yes.
especially with the model dog for dog meat passing away and all that, and that it just got me excited to think about, man, I would love to have a dog that just wanders with me or something if they allow that, but I don't know how it's going to be, but it's very intriguing.
Would love to see something that instead of it being at your camp, which I think originally. Here's my theory, and I'm gonna do some wild speculation, and I have absolutely no insight into what's actually going on. But the
And
pet
now for another
showed up
Dave
like maybe a
moment.
year and a half ago, and here's another Dave moment. Yeah, it showed up in the Atomic Shop maybe like a year and a half ago, and I would suspect that they're trying to get them so that they can be like a real companion to you, because they don't require any dialogue. They don't require, that much stuff. But to be able to follow you, I think that would be really cool.
It wouldn't work to me any different than the other games. Like if they get down, they literally just kind of whimper until you stim pack them, so they can't die or whatever. And so I think it's more feasible, like you were saying, with having no dialogue.
You laugh, but it will be a thing.
That's true. And if I gotta have a pet, and I want everybody to say what kind of pet they would have, but Brian, you said a dog, right? You wanted a dog. I'm thinking I'm gonna get a possum. I'm gonna get like one of those two-headed possums that looks like kind of crazy. That's what I'm going for. What about you all?
I would have to go with a smaller sloth that can sit on you when it's not in combat.
Yes.
Just hang on you.
Some would call it a micro sloth.
A micro sloth, of course.
I would love an owlet. They're just kind of adorable and pathetic looking. Like if you meet that one in the entrance to the deep, he's just he looks a little sad. Yeah.
He needs a friend.
But like you said, with Beckett and some of these other companions kind of following you places now, the pathing and bonding to you clearly exists. So maybe this was a first step in that. I would love to be able to take Brutus the mutant cat with me on adventures.
Yes, I think it's going to make the game just even more fun.
Yeah, agreed.
I agree.
Well, cool.
Did you have any other thoughts?
No, I'm just bored, so I just wanted to jump on and chat with my friends.
We're glad you did, and we're glad you're feeling better.
Yes. But I'll jump off and get back to watching the show, guys. So.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See you, Brian.
Should we take Scully Face?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's just roll with the punches. We're all here to hang out. Let's just roll with them.
Yeah.
Scully Face.
Hi. I feel like I'm that kid that's walking in late to class and has no idea what's going on.
Just say
but
yes.
You see, those are the kids that really know what's going on, because they roll with the punches. They come in, they just insert themselves into it. They're like, all right, I'm with it. I'm here in the tide. We're ripping and roaring. We're hanging tin on the surfboard as we go through the typhoon.
Yeah, between what are you most excited about for some of this upcoming patch? Obviously, you're excited about the camp sloths.
and that new shelter.
Yes.
What's the new shelter?
The cave shelter.
Yes, they're finally releasing that.
Oh.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to play around in that.
Yeah, it's going to be nice just to have something to decorate in that isn't a goddamn vault that you have to try and make it not look like a vault.
Right?
Yeah, that's going to be great.
I can finally make my cave bar I wanted to make ages ago.
Ooh.
Here's what I would recommend people. I would recommend people get the cave shelter and then build a vault in the cave shelter. And then that really will confuse people.
Yeah, super meta.
Oh, that'd be so cool, actually.
You know what I want to do? If there's a water feature in there, I want to build the pirate ship from Goonies.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Yeah. I haven't done a pirate ship yet. I think that would be hilarious.
See, my mind just instantly went to when Dave said like the vault inside the cave. It went to like little lamplight.
Oh,
just because you can get the cave, the vault entrance in there.
Yeah, that's a good call.
It's your little lamplight, man.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how large that place is going to be.
I hope it's not too big, because the larger it is, the less, like, I guess it feels like the less build budget we have.
I wasn't sure where that comment was going.
it's too early for that.
This is true.
There's so many options now. It's hard. Like, even like I really like building. There's like now it's like there's the buffet of things. And so it's like when you go to the Chinese buffet and you're looking at all the options and you're like, I really only have room for like these like 4 things. It's like, how do we get to all this? How do we do all this building? There's so much building, so much real estate to now utilize. How do we do it?
Right?
Scully's like, I have no problem doing that.
Fine.
Already got the schematics and everything. It's all sorted.
I've got a Willy Wonka themed cave in mind.
Of course. Actually, that would be kind of cool.
That is so cool.
What part of Willy Wonka? Which scene are we talking about? The like LSD boat ride, or are we talking about like like the TV room? Like, what are we?
Where you walk in and everything's made of candy with that chocolate waterfall.
Nice.
If you do that, you should put it on YouTube, and then you should try to cover that song in like a parody. That I'm just making up stuff for you to do with all the time that I think you have.
If you're ever bored, Dave will take care of you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we can get Fenwa to sing it.
Oh, actually, that's a great idea. Fenwa would be an amazing. I could see him doing a classic, creepy Gene Wilder.
Oh.
Yeah, he's been voluntold now. Like that, it's on his list of things to do.
Classic. Yeah, what were you most excited about for the pit? Because we were talking about the pit earlier too.
Honestly, I like the idea of seeing a new location. Don't get me wrong, I love Appalachia, but it'd be really great to get out of Appalachia.
I'm with you, sister.
Well, here's a thing. You're actually, fun fact. Let me put on my geography degree. Hang on, I can kind of turn my camera so that I can show off a little bit of my degree. Oh, this is gonna be real hard. Okay, there's the corner of my degree. Now here's the thing. I'm gonna point to it. The pit is actually in Appalachia. All right, now I can turn my camera back. So nobody's actually leaving Appalachia. They're just going to a city extra.
Ah.
How pretentious do I sound now?
Can we get more tours of Dave's place?
Yeah, let's go for it. I have some Fallout posters behind me when I talk. See, this is fun. I just move over. All right, if you can all right. In CSI when they do the enhance, those are like the you've seen those like tourist posters. I got them on eBay for like $20.
I love
these.
Those
are
posters.
teasing all of the podcasts that I have in development, but I shouldn't be talking about that.
Is that an R2D2 there?
Yeah, it is. There's an R2D2 here.
Oh, damn.
There's a Tibetan singing bowl here. There's some Star Wars action figures here. Here's the White House. I'm just giving you the tour. All right, let's go around my house now. Question.
Fallout.
Let's get back
Welcome to
it.
Fallout Cribs.
Fallout Cribs.
All right.
Do you think we're going to be able to build camps in in Pittsburgh in the pit? Or do you think there's going to be a big
Oh.
the same system, or is it going to be like a little different, a little smaller, or is there not going to be any?
I am hoping we'll be able to build there like we were able to in Nuka World.
It would be really nice.
I think we'll probably get interior building, but
That's
not.
interesting.
But yeah, but I don't think there'd be like. See, I was thinking like Diamond City when you go in and you can buy like that little space, interior space. But because it's a city, I don't know how much freedom you would get, like freeform building with traditional camps.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious if it's gonna be like you have like it's not gonna be like a camp or anything, but you like claim a little area and you can put up some turrets and put up some like workshop or something, like just something, and maybe like it would be cool if it was like a smaller scale. That's the whole thing that or like before 76 released, I'm like, I'm gonna go into these cities that I know, and I'm gonna build directly in them, and I'm just gonna build this like, off, because that's the fun part of a lot of the settlements in 4 is they reutilize places that already existed. And so I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. So I'm curious if there's going to be anything that's like kind of on a little bit of that scale, considering the density of the city.
Yeah.
Curious.
I'm wondering how the travel there is going to be. Because we see a vertibird, so I wonder if it's something like we actually turn a cargo bot into a transport, or I'm wondering how we're going to get there.
I was personally hoping, see how like in the original like Pit TLC, like the way to get there was with you and that NPC going in that little
the hand car.
If 2 players, the hand car, 2 players go on that and they have to do that for a straight hour.
They activate the motion controls and people have
to just waving your Xbox like, come on, we'll get that eventually.
The grind on the next scoreboard is making your way to the pit. You have 7 days to use the hand car to get there. Yeah. And
my pitch would be if you had, so you get there, I guess you like get on a vertibird and then you're like flying over and they shoot the vertibird and then you're like, you got to jump out. And then like you jump out and then at a certain point you activate a parachute, but then there's like 99 other players there and then you got to fight each other. But there's fire on the outside. I'm sorry. I'm just describing Nuclear Winter. Oh no.
I thought that was Fortnite.
No. Why is there a bus flying in the sky? What's going
on? Any other thoughts, Scully? About what are you excited about for the future?
Permanent pets that I don't have to worry about dying.
Yeah, that's always a bummer.
Right? I've got a Mirelurk King, and every time I load in on Xbox, I'm like, "Are you still alive, Poseidon?"
Poseidon.
I named him Poseidon.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I would imagine that shooting them, like, because those like show up strangely, or they used to at least, and I would imagine because that's a pretty tough enemy in general. Mm-hmm. So if you're like, just like a person walking along and you see a Mirelurk King, you're like, oh shit, I have a limited amount of time to kill the thing. So
right,
I see your predicament.
Yeah. He even loaded in once as a legendary, and I was just like, no, I need to leave the server now.
Whoopsie.
I was like, I don't need someone to see that and go, oh, hey, look, there's my legendary kill for the day.
Yep, basically. No. Any other thoughts, Scully?
That's about it. I'm excited about that shelter.
Yes.
And building, just in general.
Always building.
Yeah.
Thank you for your call.
Yeah, thanks for coming by, Scully.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Scully.
Yeah.
There was one last piece I wanted to talk about that we didn't get a chance to talk about and was kind of announced in conjunction with other good news is that Nuclear Winter is leaving the game. That they are shutting down that mode. It's going away. I am actually. I want to hear everybody's thoughts on it. I am pretty disappointed. I don't know about you all, but I'm as somebody who like casually played that, I'm pretty disappointed.
Yeah, this is I mean, it's less, I think, talked about now than it was when it was first announced. Yeah, I think a lot of people were equally disappointed, but it's one of the things where clearly not enough people play it consistently for it to make sense to allocate resources towards. And I'm with you. I enjoyed playing it casually. Like our group in the aristocracy, at least on every Friday, we play at least 1 or 2 matches, just because it's kind of fun for us to do, and it's something different to do. Particularly because when we've been playing this for so long, it's at least to change things up a little bit, but still be playing the game. It is nice as a little respite now and then to go do some nuclear winter nonsense. Yeah, there was a lot of people really unhappy about the announcement, but clearly the lion's share of us just are interested in more PvE content versus PvP.
Yeah. For me, I'm more of a PvE person, but like I enjoyed Nuclear Winter for what it was. I think the blow wouldn't have been so bad if there was another like PvP alternative. Like if they still had survival modes and that was
Yeah.
like more along the lines of Nuclear Winter in terms of like freedom of just killing people, it would be good. But yeah, because I know a lot of groups on Twitter, like their sole activity was playing Nuclear Winter just for the PvP combat. So it's like, what are they going to do?
Well, think about how many people
Yeah.
came to this game thinking it was going to be like a Rust situation,
Yeah.
where PvP was so much a part of this game as it was originally envisioned. So when you came to this game kind of looking for that, first you had kind of unsatisfying PvP in regular adventure mode. Then you get survival, and then that gets nerfed and finally canceled. Then you got Nuclear Winter, and then just nothing was done with it, and then that gets canceled. I can see how they're frustrated and not knowing what to do. But if we actually get private server modes, like they said, that will allow for PvP experiences, as Mark Tucker had mentioned, I think that will allow players to maybe kind of create their own PvP content.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like my mind there went to like, oh, it would be cool if they made like PvP arenas, and then the pit would be another PvP arena or something like that.
Yeah.
But then in private server, if you could just make your own and then allow the ability just to turn it on for the entire server and then turn it back off when you're done, like that'd be great. I think that would solve a lot of problems for a lot of people.
I would love to see. I think one of the benefit of Nuclear Winter was that it was a way to play a Fallout game with PvP where everyone was kind of on the same playing field. Like there was like you didn't have a million stim packs. You just had the weapons that you found, and they weren't these like crazy like legendaries. You got to play with some of the mutations and perk cards. Like you got these like these elements to give you a little bit of an edge, but it was all situational and dependent on what you found. And so like it had those elements of I think what they wanted that Rust like experience to be. Just from like this like found like, oh, I'm coming in fresh. I don't have anything on me. I'm just like fresh out of the vault, and I'm gonna go find like, oh, I've just got wood armor for right now, but I have this big fancy gun that I'm gonna use to try to get some people. And sometimes a sniper rifle is better than a huge Gatling gun. Sometimes you don't want to wear power armor because it makes you very visible. Like there's some really easy to learn like tactics to that.
Yeah.
And it was my favorite of like battle royale games. Like obviously there's like ones that have done better, like that are like better from like a strategy, from like a gameplay, from like the ability, the scale, the progression. Like there's a ton, but it was it was probably my favorite, and it was the easiest. It was the one I would recommend to people that were casual about it, that already had like, oh, I want to play a battle royale, but I don't want to sit around for like an hour and play this and just get absolutely roasted. Like there was some space because of the amount of players, the size of the maps. There was some space between people so that you had time to get your items, to kind of get a collection going. And if you wanted to play sneaky and kind of like hide in the bush, people talk about hiding in the bush all the time. If you wanted to do that, then you could, and you could end up towards the end. And I will try to not make any jokes any further, and I need to stop, so I'm going to throw that off me. What do you all think?
Awkward silence.
I'm trying to move.
This close to making jokes.
Listen, I got put in when I get put in a host position that it's like I am trying my best to keep my chaotic energy in check, and it is so hard. I'm like bursting at the seams of like trying. It's like putting a pig in a suit is still a pig. The last thing and kind of a good transition is I think one of the reasons that they're stopping Nuclear Winter is because it was developed by it was in collaboration with the New Dallas studio that they have, I believe. They were primarily the ones that kept that mode open and had that different stuff. But I'm imagining that a lot of the resources right now are being put into Starfield. Which, even though this is a Fallout podcast, I would still like to get a temperature check on your reaction to Bethesda's new IP and their first new IP in years since Elder Scrolls. What do you all think about that?
I'm so hyped for this. Very, very hyped for this.
I'm very hyped about the potential of it, man. Because you watch the trailer, I'm like, do you know what? This is pretty exciting. I'm liking the look of this, and then I seen the concept art immediately after it, and you're like, oh, okay, so this is where it's going. Okay, this could potentially be an amazing game. An amazing game.
What most people still don't quite get, or maybe don't really wrap their heads around. So Creation Engine 2, the trailer that dropped, that was 100% in-game footage. So to compare that to where we are now with Fallout, it's what I'm also excited about, which ties back into Fallout. So Creation Engine 2, Elder Scrolls 6, Fallout 5, on that is going to look ridiculous. Yeah.
I'm very curious about the systems. Like when you look at, kind of you get a general feel for the aesthetic that they're trying for with Starfield. We don't know anything about gameplay. We don't know anything about, actual like what you're going to be doing. I mean, it could be like we're delivering popsicles to small children on planets. Like we're not 100% sure on what exactly that is, but we get a feel of the aesthetic and the vibe that they're going for, and that you can climb a ladder in this game for the first time ever.
Still no pizza.
No
pizza.
One of the games that I've generally liked the aesthetic of and like play. There's this game called Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds. That's the one that I get confused with it. It's an indie game on I think it's still on Games Pass, and it's on Epic Game Store. It's a bunch of different places, but essentially it's a small solar system that you're flying through, and like you get into this like cockpit of a ship, and it is like a rickety ship, and you are trying to fight gravity, and you're trying to like, oh, you could just like fly into the sun, you could like get your propulsion wrong and have to like escape pod yourself out of the ship. Like it has this kind of like, space flight is hard, and Todd Howard had talked about how they wanted that to be a thing. Like, a lot of like sci-fi universes, they just like fly in space, like Star Trek, and it's it's no big deal. But he had talked about in this universe, he wanted that to be like a very like visceral thing, like something that like took effort and had considerations of like how you're going to get to different places. And I think that's the most exciting thing for me, because we don't see that very often in sci-fi, of this like, it's hard to fly a spaceship, it's gonna be rickety, like you could break something in your hull and just get sucked out into space. And I feel like that it's gonna have some of that system wise in the game.
I'm very excited to think that I'm doing this massive cinematic sci-fi landing in this landing pad, only to bounce off and then just fly into a building or something.
Yes.
And then from there it's just chaos.
You forget to add too much coolant, and the next thing you know, your reactor melts down, your ship explodes. I'm really excited about the fact that, considering how linear Fallout 4 was, the fact that they said that this is going to be really a proper RPG, to really create your own stories, your character, and how people react to you, and how events going to shape around you based on your choices. I'm really excited about. I don't feel we've had that. Really, I think New Vegas for me was the last time I felt that in any real way.
Yeah, it feels like you're being inserted. Like oftentimes in Fallout and some in some of the Elder Scrolls games, it seems like that the world is only exists for like what's right in front of you. But sometimes in a few of them, it feels like that you are a piece of this gigantic like moving ship. Like you're part of this like this big system, and you're not the most important part, but you are a cog in there. But you get to make your own decisions and affect certain things, and kind of like I guess change things up within that. And I love those kinds of games. That's the kind of stuff that I'm really excited about. And it excites me that with this new engine, to see some of the stuff that there's some leaks and some different stuff of like, there may be something with gravity and oxygen. Like there may be some like indicators or some systems based on that. And I'm curious what systems they're going to add in future iterations, like Elder Scrolls or Fallout. Like what systems could they add? Could it be like, more in-depth, like radiation poisoning, like where there's mutations where it's like, oh, now I have a third arm, like they always joke Vault Boy did or what have you.
See, I'm really curious because when Todd Howard first said in the article, like, yeah, we want this to be like a very hardcore RPG, my mind went back to like Morrowind, and I really hope that it's like Morrowind where they could literally let you just break the game in general if you wanted to by making a certain choice or by going into a certain place where you weren't supposed to. Love that.
Yeah, that would be
if they went that far. Yeah.
What do you think the story is going to be about?
I think it's going to be, I'm 100% right in this, and I'm gonna, I'm 100% like I know exactly what's happening. I've talked to Todd Howard at the barbecue. It's all kosher. I think that we're gonna have like this is going to be the second human expedition to another solar system. So I think it's gonna be like, okay, we're gonna go to this solar system, but the first humans that had been there have already left for another one. So there's gonna be like a kind of like, pick up the pieces, find out where they went, because you got to find somebody. And in any Bethesda game, you got to find something. Like you got to find the dragons or the emperor or your father or your son or your sister. Like if you can find these astronauts, I think that's a good, like, what happened to the missing astronauts? I think that's a good like plot device to move things forward.
Yeah, that's it. Like your brother is the astronaut that took over and went just as you got there, and you're like, oh, where's my brother? I need to go find him for some reason. Only for me to find him and shoot him in the face, but then again, it's still,
right, because in Bethesda fashion, he's like your evil clone that they've implanted into something, and it's time for like a reenactment of Face Off.
I did that immediately in Fallout 4 when the father turned out to be your son. Didn't even give him a chance. I immediately walked in and shot him in the face.
You know what? I did the same thing until I broke the game at that point. That was a mistake.
Yeah. It's like, Sean's dead. I'm like, what?
Whoops.
Huh?
My bad.
Well, there's certainly a lot to be excited for, and we've got a lot of good stuff coming down the pipe. We've got a year full of updates with Fallout 76, and I mean there's so much time in between, even what they've announced with 76 and Starfield, that I'm curious what even like 2022 has in store. What the fall update is going to be, where they're changing something with private worlds. There's like some hint of that. maybe you all have your ear close to the ground. Have you heard any rumblings? Has there been any rumblings in the Fallout world of such a thing?
I think that's going to be the new server modes that they were teasing, that Mark Tucker teased when he was on the show. That was last year for QuakeCon. I think that's what we're going to be getting. So maybe that opens up some new options for PvP. But also, I would love to be able to have weather and time controls. Anyone who films machinimas, but not like Bundicot, for instance, to be able to control, stop the weather and the time, so you can just film without having to do it 5 times, would be fantastic.
I was doing that the other day. I had to server hop
It's
like
so
6
irritating.
times or something.
Yes.
And clear out the same location because it was filled with super mutants or something. And I'm like, man.
Is the union actors, I mean, when they get on those sets, I mean, they have a limited amount of time, and the next day when you got to go film, with SAG and with all the different stuff, you gotta make sure the site's clean, and that if we could just bust these unions up, then we could actually get some machinimas filmed.
Yeah.
What now in the post E3 afterglow, what did you guys think about that entire showcase and even some of the other games that we saw?
I mean, I obviously thought it was good because it convinced me enough to go buy an Xbox. So it was great, kid.
I mean, they've done their job.
Yeah, they did their job. I haven't owned one in it's been 10 years or 11 years. I'm not sure.
84 years.
A lot of stuff is really exciting to me. I'm glad that they are pushing not only BGS, but they're pushing Arcane. I feel like that everybody says that they are undervalued. Like, they put out great games with amazing worlds. All their stuff is great. I'm excited to own both a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox, so I can play Deathloop and then I can play Redfall.
Yes,
and
Deathloop.
Big deal.
Yes, Deathloop.
I'm interested in. It's interesting to see, and it's been fun to go back and play old Xbox One games and kind of newer Xbox One games that have I think that there was like a switch that was turned where they were like, okay, we're gonna start developing with this mindset, and it's interesting to play those newer games that are looked at as like, okay, we're gonna make these things timeless, like. And I'm not trying to like crap talk, but it's like weird playing Crackdown 3 when I'm like, I really just want to play Saints Row 2, or Grand Theft Auto 5, where it's like, this is kind of like whatever. But when I go and play, let's say like State of Decay 2, like that feels like an experience. It feels like I'm playing a game. Or when I go and play like Master Chief Collection or something, it's like this is Halo. This is like a timeless piece. I think that they're trying to build these parts and pieces to have things for everyone. The most excited thing, and one of the reasons, pretty much one of the main reasons outside of Starfield that I bought the Xbox was for Microsoft Flight Sim, because I have tried to get that to run on my computer and I cannot. So I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, the next flight simulator that they teased, good lord, was that beautiful. Like, I'm not into flight sims, but wow, holy crap, did that look good.
To be fair, it made me consider downloading it. The only thing that turned me off was the fact that it's like 100 gigs. So I was like,
oh yeah,
I don't have space, I don't think.
Yeah, I need all video game developers to please manage the size of your games. Like, they should not be over 50 gigabytes. And I need you all to know that. I need you all to work that out and figure it out. Sit amongst yourself, have a team meeting, and figure it out.
I want a 4K photorealistic visuals on 100 megabytes, please.
Please.
Yes. Optimize. You got to optimize every, like, make this like, people are like as smooth as butter. No, make it like as smooth as like Salt Lake City or something. I don't know why I don't know.
Wow,
why
where did that come
Salt
from?
Lake City. I don't know. I was trying to think of like very calm water, and I came up with the Salt Lake. Then I just came up with Salt Lake City.
Now I picture that Dave has like a Salt Lake City horror story, like somewhere. He's having flashbacks right now, like Vietnam.
Maybe.
It was the summer I'll never forget. Salt Lake City.
We didn't get a chance to get your temperature check here, and what did you think?
I liked overall. I was already sold on Xbox. I'm not getting the new console because I've got a gaming PC. But I but I was already sold. Like Fable and Avowed in that last year. I was
Yes.
hoping to see more of them this year, but I guess those are early in development. But everything else they showed was pretty cool. Even the Pirates of the Caribbean Sea of Thieves DLC got me excited, which was such an odd thing that I was not expecting to be excited about, but it was still funny and still cool. But everything else they showed was pretty cool, and pretty exciting, especially for Game Pass as
Yeah,
well. I
Game
think
Pass is really wow.
this showcase just sold Game Pass for everyone.
Yeah, that's what I told my wife when it was like when we were doing I was gonna buy it. I was like, well, I'm not gonna buy any new games, and that's true. I'm not gonna buy any new games. I'm just gonna get Games Pass, and that's just gonna be it. You see, that's your marketing genius, Ken. That's like some good.
Right, right.
That's the way it goes. Yeah, it's like even Forza Horizon 5 I was really excited about. The other cool thing, I don't know if you heard, Kieran, but Fable is going to be on the same engine that Forza Horizon 5 is.
Yes.
So think about how beautiful Fable is going to look with that level of detail. It's going to be awesome.
I'm so excited about that game. I'm so excited about that game. It got me. I'm not a big car person, but watching the Forza Horizon 5 thing got me to actually download Forza Horizon 4 from the Game Pass as well, which is pretty cool.
It's a lot of fun.
It's really fun.
It's in your backyard.
Yeah.
You
I can go to Edinburgh, which is, it's an alright town. It's not Glasgow, but
Yeah, it's kind of like to me. I'm joking. I'm like, it's like just I'm playing all the video games because the Games Pass is like I'm playing them all. I have all the video games. I'm playing them all, and I'm gonna inject them into my veins.
That and what's really good about it, and I was saying this to my friend just there, is the fact that you can, at least on PC, I don't know if it's on console right now, but they launched the cloud gaming with the Game Pass Ultimate. So on PC, it's like if you don't want to immediately download a game, but you want to just have a feel around it, you can just load up the cloud for like 10 minutes or something, and then decide from that, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's on console, and I think it's coming to. They're gonna make it so that like it'll be like Series X quality if you have like an Xbox One. Now I have like no clue what Xbox was doing for 10 years up until recently, and now I'm like, oh, Bill Gates and Microsoft, and what's going on with Halo?
I mean, clearly it was a strategically amazing move for everybody involved. So I'm pretty excited about the future.
Well, I think we've done such a good job rounding these bases, without too much of falling off the train. So I just want to congratulate everybody for staying in their seat for this whole trip. It's been a wild ride, but we haven't hit the emergency brake at any point. It's kind of like when you land off of a plane ride and they're like, congratulations and welcome to Salt Lake City. The current weather is 100 degrees and it's a nice wind speed of 7 miles per hour. So I want to take this time to kind of, I guess, let people know what we've got going on in our content creation and personal lives. So I want to hand the floor to you, Kieran, and let the people know what you've got going on, and don't be like, I've not got anything.
He's working on a very cool project that he's going to tell us about right now.
I'm working on a lot of cool things. A few I can't talk about, but I'll talk about a few of them. Currently, I am producing a documentary series on Fallout, which is pretty cool, called Nukaverse, where each episode covers an entirely new story within the Fallout franchise, a community-based story. So episode 1 is on the Vulture group, which is this role-playing raider group that's at the center of this massive RP lore, which is amazing. I didn't get to them in my last documentary, but now I'm getting to them, which is really fun. And future episodes are going to be covering a lot of cool stuff that you won't anticipate, I don't think. Especially with you, Ken. You won't anticipate it, man. You just don't know. You don't know what's coming. And then Alongside
The
that is
darkness is coming.
The darkness is coming. Alongside that, I'm also creating a feature documentary on Bethesda modding called Creation Kit, which covers the entire, well, not entire, but a nice linear story history of Bethesda modding all the way from Daggerfall up until Fallout 4, which is really cool. So I'm talking to a lot of fantastic modders for that documentary, which is awesome. And what else do I have? Yeah, I'm also making a machinima series called The Tourist, which follows the comic comic strip for Fallout 3 called One Man in a Box of Puppets, if you don't know what that is. It is it's the Puppet Man from Vault 77, and so I'm sort of adapting that and also being a sequel as well. So I'm filming that right now and hopefully getting that out in July. So that's stuff I have going on.
Someone on Facebook did the most amazingly detailed Puppet Man I have ever seen. I'll have to send that to you.
Oh yeah,
he built the whole sculpture of it. It's pretty impressive.
Nice.
So where can we get all that?
You can find the documentaries over on youtube.com/pumpkin.
I have 3 more scenes, and then I should be able to knock that out here over the holiday weekend, which should be good. And then we're moving on to the next episode, which is Beer, Bros, and Brahmin Riding, with Bethesda's Lady Devon being introduced as Atomic Alice, and also Bethesda's Farrah Bowden being introduced as the Archivist, a character with a really intriguing enough backstory that he wanted to do it.
Interesting.
I pitched him a really interesting character that I thought he could have fun with. Beyond that, in August, we actually have QuakeCon coming up, the end of August. So leading up to that, the QuakeCon community Discord has been doing a series of Friday night events. So the community can join in and do some fun stuff for prizes, atoms. So we'll be doing a bunch of those leading up to that. And then I think they're going to be, at some point soon, QuakeCon should be dropping a schedule shortly. I'm looking forward to QuakeCon again this year. After we did.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, QuakeCon was a lot of fun last year.
That's great. I've don't have much going on. I've got episodes of Vault Boys coming out. We're working on. It's like I say that we're working on a rebrand, and we're working on a rebrand. It feels like I've rebranded the thing a million times. But we've got episodes coming out of just like it's weird news stories that we cover, and then ask some discussion questions about with my buddy Austin O'Connor. Eventually, we're gonna have him on the Fallout Hub here, talk about some of his photography stuff. He's right now he's in the mountains of West Virginia at like Seneca Rocks, waking up at 4 a.m. and taking pictures of rocks and sunsets. Sounds great. Sounds like his like Walden Thoreau masterpiece.
And the pictures are beautiful.
They are beautiful. And I think that's it. I think that's all we have for today's show. You can of course get it on all the different podcast services, YouTube, and watch us live every other Tuesday, unless there's been some variability in our schedule. We've had some great episodes with Game Show with Danny Shigora, where we talk about ghouls. That was for the American Heart Association charity drive that we did for Fallout for Hope. You can catch that. That was really cool. We can talk. I mean, that had like Danny acting like he was a disembodied voice and talking about David Hasselhoff. It was hilarious. And then we did rounded that off. Ken invited Nate Perkypile, who was the lead artist for Fallout 76 and was involved with the art for a bunch of Fallout and Elder Scrolls games. Got a chance to interview him, talk about his work, and talk about the work that he's doing with his new indie company in some very light detail. You should listen to that episode, check out his stuff, and you should listen to all the other stuff we got going on here for the hosts at the Robots Radio Network, which we're also a part of. I think I've covered everything, and I didn't use notes to cover all of that. I just want you all to be, I want you all to be proud of me that I was able to do all of that. This is a big ask.
You almost made it through the entire show, but there was one important thing you forgot.
What did I forget?
Who's missing, Dave? What actor personality is missing from this show? That
Are you talking about me?
Oh,
Are you talking about me?
Yep, there's on the phone calling in is Danny DeVito.
So I have. Here's the thing about it, Ken. And Karen, it's good to meet you. I've listened to you on the episode before, but I wasn't on that episode in particular. But it's nice to finally be here with you. I've been if you listen to the podcast, I've been running ads for it, and I'm sure that Ken and Tom haven't listened to it, but every show starts with me talking about some ads. This is so they paid me a lot of money to come run the ads because I'm famous actor Danny DeVito, not Fozzie Bear. But
You sound like a
been
drunk
wonderful.
Kermit the Frog.
Sometimes it's it's a strain. It's a strain to do my performance for you all for these odds and for the time. And my union time is up because I gotta go shoot Batman. Gotta go be the Penguin.
Batman,
So I'll talk to you guys later.
I guess we'll just roll the credits there.
Yes.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Oh man.